DC Comics has put in place their new general manager and senior vice president, Mr. Daniel Cherry. This is an interesting article. It talks about Daniel Cherry, his background, and what he's probably going to do for DC Comics. And, of course, I'm going to give you my take. Let's get into the article from Newsarama. Before we do, huge help. Go ahead, subscribe to the channel. Click the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on these updates. All right, DC finds its first general manager from the Activision Blizzard esports division. So this gentleman is going to be starting on September 8th, 2020 as the new general manager and senior vice president at DC Comics. DC named Activision Blizzard executive Daniel Cherry as senior vice president and general manager. Warner Brothers has officially announced in this newly created role, just for him, Cherry will work alongside DC's chief creative officer and publisher, Jim Lee, with both of them reporting directly to Warner Brothers Global Brands and Experience President Pam Lifford. So Jim Lee doesn't have to report to this gentleman as his boss. They'll work together sort of like partners. And both of them will report to Pam Lifford, who is really successful as their president of Global Brands and Experiences. Pam Lifford is in charge of all the Warner Brothers brands, not just DC Comics. And she's a very interesting background. I'm going to do a video on her separately, but very interesting woman, self-made, hardworking. In this position, Cherry will have oversight of the following DC departments: business affairs. That means running the office and running everything related to the business. So that's the general manager part. Manufacturing, editorial, talent services, marketing, sales, brand and direct-to-consumer, and business development. He's really running the whole business. You know, Jim Lee is cool. Jim Lee knows comics, but he's really running the whole business. And he's going to be making any decisions that don't change the nature of the business. So he's not the CEO. He's not the president. He's the general manager. As a general manager, he's there to execute someone else's strategy. Whose strategy? His boss's. Jason Kilar, the CEO of Warner Media, as well as Pam Lifford. That's how you structure a general manager. And as senior vice president, that's his position within Warner Media, the overall company. Jim Lee does not have a position within Warner Media. Jim Lee has a position within DC Comics. It's not to diminish Jim Lee, it's just to kind of understand the dynamics. While Jim Lee will certainly talk to people from other divisions and things like that, people all understand, Jim Lee is not a senior vice president. He's not really part of a larger company. And that's no offense, again, to Jim Lee. Jim Lee doesn't have that type of background. He will also share business development duties with Ann DePies, DC's current senior vice president of business strategy, finance, and administration. Ann DePies also has a background in video games, just like Dan Cherry. So, are they going to be doing a lot with video games? Probably. They probably are, and it's probably a lot of money they're leaving on the table. He's going to help them pick it up off the table. Coinciding with Cherry joining DC and working closely with the new general manager, CEO publisher Jim Lee, will take on expanded responsibilities surrounding the overall DC brand, which basically is to say, Jim, stay out of all this stuff. We're going to take care of the business stuff. And as far as Jim Lee is concerned, who would blame him? Like, you know what? Just leave me with the comics and the characters. You guys balance the books. Because this is a serious move by AT&T and Warner Media to have financial accountability and operational common sense, like doing things for a really good business reason whenever they do stuff at DC Comics. And interestingly, with the background that Daniel Cherry has, he understands when you say, well, the intellectual property is important. He's a marketing guy. He's got a big marketing background. We'll discuss it in detail. But he understands marketing. So he understands, we need to make the comics. We need to make them good. He gets all that. But at the same time, things have to be done with a strong business purpose. You can definitely, when they were talking about him, a month ago, that they were bringing on an esports senior vice president guy as a new general manager, and you can see that they've already had all these conversations. Everybody knows what they need to do. He's going to bring a great sense of focus and organization to DC. Lee will bring his unmatched creativity, passion, and innate knowledge of the DC characters and canon to the company's efforts to evolve the brand and create relevance for new audiences around the world, reads Warner Brothers' announcement. Lee will not be involved in any of those activities listed above, except like, hey, what do you think? Should we do a Batman direct-to-consumer project? And Lee will give them some ideas, but he's not in charge of it. Scheduled to begin work on September 8th, Warner Brothers calls Cherry an award-winning brand innovator and marketing executive and comes to DC after nearly 3 years as the chief marketing officer of Activision Blizzard's esports division. That's an important position. Prior to that, he worked in marketing for the alcoholic beverage company, Diageo Brands, and the sports teams, the New Jersey Devils and New York Cosmos. Cherry's hiring was formally announced just a few weeks after significant organizational changes within DC and its parent company, Warner Media. Among the most significant was the layoff of longtime editor-in-chief Bob Harris, with editors Marie Javins and Michelle Wells being named as interim editor-in-chief replacements. At the same time, they'll probably have formalized ongoing positions. They're both very capable. At the same time, DC has been transitioning into more digital comics, where Cherry's esports background could play in and become more integrated into Warner Media's plans for DC characters and other media. I would also expect Cherry to do a lot with digital comics. He's the one who's got to execute on that, because they're going to be doing a lot less with periodical print comics. They just are. The numbers don't add up. It's truly a career honor to partner with Pam Lifford and the creative genius of Jim Lee, the amazing team at DC Comics, and Warner Media to lead this iconic brand and legendary characters into the future, says Cherry in the official announcement. When he talks about respecting it as an iconic brand and leading the legendary characters into the future, he's going to be making a lot of changes over there. So get ready. I've been a huge fan since I first discovered the joy of comics from my father, who collected Shazam oversized comics from the 1970s. I am standing on the shoulders of giants. That's a very good phrase. Like Malcolm Wheeler Nicholson, Bill Finger, Bob Kane, Neil Adams, Harry Lampert, and so many others, I'm especially proud to be continuing the legacy of fellow Ohioan and Cleveland native Jerry Siegel, who created Superman. Here's the changes we're talking about. While always respecting the past, I also think it's our responsibility to leverage the cultural power of DC Comics to entertain and inspire an increasingly diverse global fan base. Interesting. Comics have the power to create unique imagery and narratives that can move the world toward a better, more inclusive version of itself. Interesting. It's my sincere hope that I'm able to contribute to help evolve the brand, change the brand. Evolve is changing, supposedly for the better. And it's relevance for generations to come. So for the brands to be relevant, they're going to need some changes. We're going to be changing up these brands. You know what? Someone has to put energy into this company, and someone has to be focusing on the bottom line. Daniel Cherry is a very bottom line kind of guy. He's not fooling around. He will execute very well. Being a senior vice president means he has a shot at a larger position in the company in the future, or running DC once he's turned it into some sort of multimedia, God knows what, giant entertainment company. DC is not going to be sold. Warner Media might be sold. It's not going to be today, but at least 2 years. It'll take at least 2 years for them to kind of organize Warner Media into something, and then either sell it out of AT&T or sell a portion of it out of AT&T, which they're very likely to do. I'm interested to see what he's going to do with the company. I think he's going to be very capable. He'll open up a lot of opportunities. If you think about it, everybody knows these DC characters, so why shouldn't they have more of exposure than they currently have? Tell me what you think in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notification, and also you can get a copy of College of the Day, Graduation Day. It ships immediately. It's my ongoing full-color zombie apocalypse series. Really well done, really well written. I know you'll enjoy it. We're working on number 3 right now. Also, you can get a copy in the future of The Mermaids. This book is going to be coming out soon. You can sign up at epicmermaids.com so you don't miss out when the book does come out. We'll send you an email, and you can jump on the Indiegogo campaign. I will see you again soon with another video, and if I don't see you, I will miss you.